Hi, everyone. Welcome to the PushTracker E2 and Switch Control webinar. So now I'm going to pass this over to Curtis Mehring, who is going to introduce us to the PushTracker E2 and Switch Control from Permobil Smart Drive.
Thanks, Jeneth. Hello, as Jeneth said, my name is Curtis. I'm the Director of Market Development for manual products for Permobil, which includes Smart Drive and Tylight. We just want to thank you for joining us today to learn more about the new exciting PushTracker E2 and Switch Control for Smart Drive. Dr. Pierre Oudin was a unique individual, to say the least. He was a physician, inventor, entrepreneur, and the father of 10 children. In the 1960s, when Dr. Oudin was a physician, you cannot find a reliable power wheelchair that could go both in and outside. He paired up with an engineer and a friend, and with no experience building electrical vehicles, he started to build the first Permobil power wheelchair. This is where mobility as a right started. To this day, many of our products are created without a clear funding path to connect the mobility solution with the end user. We built and started providing a standing wheelchair in the United States a long time ago without a code to support it. Standing wheelchairs were considered impossible to get then, but today funding sources are starting to turn a corner on providing high-end mobility solutions for our clients. Permobil didn't go into the market that existed, but created a market motivated by the interests of our clients. The Tylight Pilot has a similar story. It was designed to meet the mobility needs of a child using the wheelchair and not the other way around. It was designed to grow with the child, and it's the only one in North America that does this. We knew that this would be a challenge going into the market, teaching clinicians and ATPs and caregivers to think a different way, but we did it anyway because we knew it was right for the user. And of course, there's Smart Drive, what we're here to talk about today. Smart Drive is a power assist device designed with the end user in mind. It was designed to improve a manual wheelchair user's mobility with minimal compromise or disruption. The Smart Drive is lightweight relative to any of its competitors and can be easily taken on and off the client's wheelchair for an on-demand power assist. The Smart Drive mounts at a location where its effects on propulsion are minimal, and it doesn't require the user to make any significant modifications to their chair. It's the first of its kind, and there isn't anything else like it. Smart Drive is redefining the approach to manual wheelchair mobility and has such a tremendous impact because it allows more manual wheelchair users to choose to do more things. Thanks, everybody. Smart Drive has progressed with each iteration. It started with a simple push button to go and then a brake to stop with the MX1. The MX1 then turned into the MX1 Plus, where the Smart Drive detected when the client pushed, and then they braked or pushed a button to stop. The MX2 introduced a wearable for the first time so that the user could use their push to go and then a single tap to stop. This is the first time that a wearable was used to actually control a power assist device. This was the most progressive version yet, but it also required the clients to be able to give a strong push and would sometimes turn Smart Drive off unintentionally. In response to the feedback from the field, tap gestures were created to control the Smart Drive. MX2 and MX2 Plus both had switch options known as thumb throttles, but those were used less frequently. As Smart Drive progressed and became more inclusive, safety and Bluetooth connectivity became a priority. Training was made available in a variety of ways to improve both safety and the client's ability to maintain connection with the Smart Drive and the PushTracker. The original PushTracker was limited, though based on available technology at the time. The settings were a little difficult to change, and the Bluetooth antenna was not as strong as what is available today. And in a world where people are moving faster every day, it's necessary to design products that are more intuitive, and a more intuitive design means a better product and a better outcome. Thanks to the advances in technology and increased demand for such products, more advanced wearables have now become more affordable. Smart Drive identified the Mobboy TicWatch E2 as the optimal candidate for the first smart wearable to control the Smart Drive based on functionality and price. Smart Drive is a regulated medical device that requires extensive testing, and with limited resources, we selected to develop an app for this one watch to begin the next steps in the Smart Drive evolution. This is where the Permobil PushTracker E2 came from. It's the new wearable designed to bring modern, everyday technology to the manual wheelchair user. The person using a smart drive now has the choice to wear something that seamlessly integrates into their everyday life and can bring minimal attention to the user. More importantly, when you look at this device, it's something that is used every day. And now the PushTracker E2 also has the ability to control someone's smart drive. This is another great step in the complex rehab technology industry where devices are starting to seamlessly integrate into everyday lives of the people who use them. Also, the processor, the Bluetooth antenna, the larger touchscreen, the single button all provide a provides a user interface that allows the client to do almost everything we wanted them to do with the original PushTracker. And the most important factor to talk about is probably the connectivity and the fact that durability was designed into it with the user in mind. When discussing connectivity, it's important to understand how it works, at least at a high level. 4 factors that affect Bluetooth connectivity include the materials used, the distance between the 2 devices that are communicating, how busy that area is or the crowding, and then the surroundings that they are in, which can vary based off of city or town or whether they're in an exhibit hall or an office space. Significant improvements have been made with the materials for the PushTracker E2 versus the original PushTracker. The Bluetooth traffic and type of environment the person is in will always vary, but now that the PushTracker E2 includes more advanced Bluetooth signal processing and transmission, it has an 8 times more reliable connection than the original PushTracker. This significantly improves the smart drive experience and most importantly means much fewer disconnections while using the smart drive. Thanks again everybody for participating, because now we're going to talk about the technology paradigm. And with technology there's always trade-offs, but with the PushTracker E2 this one is definitely worth it. We're providing a smart wearable very similar to the phones that we use every day that can use an app to control the smart drive. The PushTracker E2 requires a smartphone for the setup and has to be configured by the dealer, the clinician, the Permobil rep, or even the client themselves. The setup that is done up front, though, is well worth the improvements from the PushTracker E2 upgrade and may even take less time than the original PushTracker once you're familiar with how using it. This is also a great place to remind everyone that the PushTracker E2 is also 8 times more reliable with its connection than the original PushTracker. For you to get a PushTracker E2 ready to go, you must complete the following steps, and you should remain on a reliable Wi-Fi for the entire time. The first thing to do is set up your new PushTracker E2 using Wear OS by Google from your smartphone. You can do this from any smartphone. This includes an iPhone, which is a common question that we get, that this is a Wear OS. Download Wear OS from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store or the Apple App Store. Wear OS will allow you to access Google Play on the PushTracker E2, and this is where you're going to find the Smart Drive app to control your device. Once you've downloaded the app to the PushTracker E2, you're now able to pair, connect, and go. We'll also have some quick start guides for you, which you'll see here in just a second, and then also a video online, actually multiple videos for you to help you with this process. We also will have customer service representatives available in case anyone needs assistance with this as well. And as we said, we're going to have these initial startup guides for you, and these are just some examples of what they may look like. So walking you through the initial setup, walking you through how to download the app, very simple, which we'll see a video, and then how to pair and go, which we will see a video as well. The next few slides are screen recordings on how the PushTracker E2 actually works when you interact with it. After you've successfully initiated your PushTracker E2, it's now time to download the Smart Drive MX2 Plus app. Hit the right button on the watch and go into the Google Play Store. Hit the magnifying glass to search, type in Smart Drive. When you're done typing Smart Drive, hit the search button again. When the apps come up, look for the Smart Drive MX2 Plus app. Tap on the app to install it, or tap on Install to install it, and when it's finished installing, tap on Open to open the app. Now that you've downloaded the app will be listed with all of your apps, which can be accessed by pushing the button on the right side of the wearable. Once you do that, you'll see a list of all of your apps. Scroll up until you see SmartDrive MX2 Plus app, and then select it. This is the first screen that you'll see when the SmartDrive MX2 Plus app opens on the PushTracker E2. In order to navigate through it, you're going to swipe on the screen. Swipe up first to go through the system usage data. Swipe down to return to the previous screen. Tap on the screen to open any of the options. Again, you can scroll by swiping up or down to see all the options in the screen that you're in. And then swipe right or hit the back button to return to any previous screen. When you pair and connect the PushTracker E2 to your SmartDrive for the first time, you will first receive a permissions notice. This explains that the device will request permission to know the location of the device and be provided with phone permissions. From these permissions, the device will not be accessing your location data or your cellular data. The first permission is necessary for the Bluetooth connections to locate each other. The second permission, which is optional, allows access to the PushTracker serial number, which then can be used for tech support. In order to pair and connect for the first time, open your app and turn your SmartDrive on. Tap the green button. The green button is going to let you know about the permissions. Once you approve it, it'll scan for your smart drives. It'll find your smart drive, select the smart drive, and then all from this one screen, you're able to pair and connect using the one button. The outside ring blinks red while it's waiting for the connection, and then blinks blue again when it's actually connected to the smart drive. A question that comes up recently is that what about demos or people who already own a smart drive? The PushTracker E2 can be retrofit to any smart drive in the field that is or has been upgraded to MX2 Plus. For any demos in the field or for anyone ordering a PushTracker E2 to retrofit onto their existing smart drive, there is one more step to get the PushTracker E2 fully functioning. The firmware will have to be updated, and this entire process can be done easily through the PushTracker E2 itself. When you're in the SmartDrive MX2 Plus app, scroll up until you see wireless updates. Select wireless updates, and the PushTracker E2 will search to find any updates that are available. It'll download the data, connect to the smart drive, tell you about the changes that it's about to make to the smart drive, and then send that data over to the smart drive to update it when you select start. The PushTracker E2 makes changing the settings easy for anyone. The larger touch screen and settings menus with options spelled out for the user make it intuitive to use. This screen recording will show us how to change the max speed, but all the settings can be changed in a similar manner. Once you're in the SmartDrive app, go down to settings, select the setting that you want to use. In this case is max speed. Use the up and down arrows and then select the checkbox. And as you can see, this is very intuitive and simple to use, and you could do the same method whether you're trying to change acceleration, tap sensitivity, or even your switch control speeds, which we'll talk about in some slides further on in the presentation. The PushTracker E2 has a wrist detection function as well. The sensor of the back of the PushTracker can detect if it's being worn or not. By default, the PushTracker E2 will not allow someone to turn on power assist if the wrist is not detected. For people with muscle atrophy or decrease in muscle mass, this may affect their ability, or it may affect the ability of the PushTracker E2 to recognize that it's being worn. To change this setting, go into your Smart Drive app, scroll down to Settings, and then select Check for Wrist. Once you're in there, again, use your arrows up and down to change your settings, and then select the check mark to set your settings. So those are just a few examples of all the different settings that you can change directly from the PushTracker E2, and we'll have many more how-to videos and tips and tricks available online when we launch the product in November 15th for you guys to have as reference. For now, let's move on to talk about some of the PushTracker E2 benefits. There are many benefits that come with the PushTracker E2. The hardware and the software are largely improved relative to the original PushTracker, making it more durable and better with the Bluetooth connection, which we talked about earlier. The larger screen allows for people to see and operate it better. The larger screen and magnetic charging dock is an improvement, especially for people with limits with their hand function. Heart rate and proximity sensors allow for more functions, and the bands are still interchangeable, though it should be noted that the original PushTracker used an 18mm band, and now the PushTracker E2 uses a 22mm. And most apps like Spotify, or as we saw the Google Play Store, are available in order for you to download onto the watch. And at the same time, it should be noted that any apps using GPS or different sensors may have an effect on the device's battery performance. The Mobboy TicWatch E2 was selected due to its technological abilities and its affordable price point. Other wearables may have smaller screens and better battery life, but they also come with a much higher price tag. The PushTracker E2's MSRP is $160. This lower MSRP means that the PushTracker E2 can come with the Smart Drive, as well as the switch control, without increasing the price or passing any of the charges along to our clients. So when the PushTracker E2 comes to market, how does a client actually get one? At launch, you'll have two options. You can go through your dealer, or you can order it directly through Amazon. If you do order it through Amazon, just be sure that you order the Mobboy TicWatch E2 watch, because this is the only watch currently that can accept and work with the Smart Drive app. As of January of next year, there'll be a third option. We will be doing an upgrade program, which I'll talk about in detail at the end of the webinar, where you'll actually be able to buy this also directly through Permobil. Switch control, formerly known as the thumb throttles, will now be included with every Smart Drive unit at no additional charge. This option now includes the ability to select momentary versus last functions and has a separate programmable speed. Switch control allows clients who use a PushTracker or PushTracker E2 with more options to help improve their manual mobility. And it provides an option for others who prefer not to use or have difficulty using a wearable to have a power assist. Switch control now comes standard. Formerly known as the thumb throttle, it has been renamed as switch control. As some familiar with Smart Drive may know, the thumb throttle has been becoming more and more popular. With this increase in popularity, more clients were asking for it, and while they were asking for it, they were also asking for more features such as programmable speeds and the ability to plug in any switch. Now, with the launch of PushTracker, with the PushTracker E2, switch control has these features and will be included with every Smart Drive. And again, it'll be included at no charge. What this does is now give us an ecosystem of options or multiple options so that you as the client, the therapist, or the ATP can find the right solution for the right person. We have a low-tech option where you can just choose switch control alone. We have a mid-tech option where you can use the PushTracker, original PushTracker, and switch control together, or a more high-tech option where you can select the PushTracker E2 and switch control. It should be noted that you will need a smartphone to control any of the settings for your switch control if you choose the low-tech or the mid-tech options. And again, we'll have lots of how-to videos and guides for you to do this online. The switch control gives you more options to help you meet the needs of your clients or meet your own needs for the clients that are here. The switch control stays in standby until you press the switch one time. Switch control now comes with the momentary and latch functions, which we'll discuss on the next slide. It also has an indicator light so that you know which function you're using. Switch control is hardwired, not requiring a Bluetooth connection at all. As long as the smart drive has a battery charge, the switch control will work. It also works as a great backup if someone forgot to charge or is running low on a charge for their PushTracker or their PushTracker E2. And of course, it can still be used as a shutoff switch at any time if someone's using a wearable or if they're using switch control in a latch mode. For those people who aren't familiar with the definitions of momentary and latched, these are the two functions now that switch control can be selected. For momentary, you push the button to go and then the motor stops. And if you let go of the button, it only works in the moment that you're actually pushing the button. For latched, you hold the button down until you reach a safe desired speed and then let go, and the motor continues to cruise while you're driving it. Hit the button again to stop while in latch control. Grab the wheels to stop the chair, no matter if you're using momentary or your latched functions. So just as we saw before, changing your switch control functions on the PushTracker E2 is easier than ever before. To adjust your switch control settings from your PushTracker E2, swipe up until you get to the menu and select Settings. Scroll down until you see Switch Control Mode. Again, use those arrows to toggle up and down until you select the mode that you want. You can always touch the I button in the middle to get more information to know what change you're making. Select the check mark when you're ready to move forward, and then go in and adjust your speed. Another important note here is that your switch control speed can actually be set separately from your PushTracker E2 speed. So if you have a preference to where you have a slower speed indoors with your switch control and a faster speed outdoor with your PushTracker E2, you're now able to control all those settings at your wrist however you want to, whenever you want to. Switch control was growing in popularity in the US as an alternative way to control the smart drive. This included many requests for the ability to plug in any switch in order to match the functional needs of the user. One of my favorite examples was a young boy in Oklahoma who used an egg switch as a gas pedal for a residual limb on his lower right extremity. Switch control now also comes with a mono jack port on the order form so that therapists and dealers can dial in the smart drive with the needs of their client. Switch control can be used with any type of propulsion technique, including those who are dependent. So that's for anybody who pushes with bilateral upper extremities, hemi-propulsion, or for those that need a caregiver to help them get around. In fact, switch control may create a situation where a client can use a smart drive where they couldn't if it was with a wearable by itself. Switch control can be used as the primary control or in combination with a PushTracker E2 or PushTracker in momentary or latched modes. Specific activities that any client can find the switch control beneficial include short distances, indoor mobility, thresholds, short or quick surface changes, going up ramps, short inclines, if the person has low or no charge on their PushTracker or PushTracker E2, or if there's someone that experiences fatigue throughout the day. So the new order form highlights the new PushTracker E2, listing off the improved features for anyone to see. The MSRP, which I think is important to note here, actually has not changed at all, and it now includes switch control at no additional charge. There's also the switch control with the mono jack port option available for the $150 charge. The regular switch control option comes with the 2 standard buttons, and then that switch control with 1 button and 1 mono jack option comes with 1 button and the ability to plug in any switch at any time. And remember, with the switch control coming standard, the user, the client, and the therapist then get to choose whether the person wants the original PushTracker or wants something with more technology, such as the PushTracker E2. We all know how frustrating it can be when we go out and buy a new product and then only a few weeks later, the newest edition comes out. In order to help with this, Permobil has decided to do an upgrade program for the PushTracker to the new PushTracker E2. This upgrade program is going to be available starting January of 2020, and it's going to last for 6 months. It cannot be for any wristband prior to the original PushTracker or the one that talks to MX2 Plus. And for people who have purchased a smart drive within 3 months of launch, our launch date is going to be November 15th, which takes us back to the date that we're going to use of August 1st. So any user who received the smart drive on or after August 1st will be able to update their PushTracker E2 at no charge, or update to a PushTracker.
Curtis, sorry, I thought you were done. Could you clarify the original PushTracker versus the current PushTracker? I think we were talking about the current PushTracker, not the one that had the separate module.
Correct. Yeah, anything that is compatible with the MX2 Plus or has the small LCD screen on it with 2 buttons. The previous wearable that had only the single button, that is not going to be eligible for the upgrade. And then for anybody who falls outside of those 3 months, will have the opportunity to upgrade at $120 MSRP, which is $40 off, which is a $40 discounted price. So again, this program starts in January of 2020, lasts for 6 months, can be updated for anybody who has the original PushTracker right now. And then the no charge for users when purchased in the last 3 months or after August 1st. And then anybody before August 1st will be able to update for $120 or $40 off of the MSRP. And as we discuss the new features, pricing, and upgrade programs, I think it's really important that we also don't lose sight of the why. This is the reason that we do what we do in our industry. And the smart drive was developed to reduce the amount of push strokes and the overall effort that occurs during manual wheelchair mobility. It was developed and then re-engineered over the years to be the power assist device that include the most users without changing the design of the person's custom-made wheelchair, while also adding as little weight to the wheelchair as possible, and then also being sure that that weight is added to the correct spot. Bringing it full circle back to Per said that we should use the same technologies used every day for those with disabilities. The PushTracker E2 is built with modern hardware and everyday features with the manual wheelchair user's specific mobility needs in mind. It was developed by those who work exclusively in the complex rehab technology industry, providing a device that is used to control a medical device without actually looking like a medical device. Most of all, the PushTracker E2 and switch control expands access for a variety of users, making the smart drive experience better for all and for more people. Manual wheelchair users overuse the muscles and joints in their upper extremities based on the demand required for manual mobility. In 1999, Curtis et al. Discovered that over 2/3 of people using manual wheelchairs reported some sort of shoulder pain. The clinical practice guidelines published by the PVA Consultorium for Spinal Cord Injury Medicine reports that over 70% of people who use manual wheelchairs as their main means of mobility complain of shoulder pain. Power assist devices, though still relatively new to the industry, have been shown to decrease the energy cost for pushing a manual wheelchair while subsequently increasing the distance traveled. This was found by Nash and colleagues in 2008. In 2017, a study done by Pradhan showed that smart drives specifically did the same thing found in the Nash study in 2008. And another interesting fact to keep in mind, especially as clinicians and ATPs who are on this call, is that our population increasing, and with more people living longer, there's an expected increase in people who will need to use a manual wheelchair, which will mean there's an increased demand for people wanting to do more with their manual mobility. We also need to keep in mind that pushing a wheelchair is only one factor that contributes to upper extremity complications. Other activities such as reaching from a seated position and transferring increase the activity demand of wheelchair users' upper extremities as well. Also, there is the thought that a wheelchair user doesn't want to give up propelling their chair every day in order to maintain a higher level of physical exertion. And although all these topics are important to consider, we also need to consider the overall cumulative effect of shoulder demand for manual wheelchair users from day in and day out. The Smart Drive is a great solution for many mobility-related ADLs. It can be used for carrying objects, grocery shopping, pushing a baby stroller, going up ramps or hills, mopping, sweeping, or for someone who needs to negotiate thresholds or carpet inside of the home. A power assist device is not only a solution for activities done within the home, but also for getting out more or further into the community. And if someone is worried about the loss of physical activity or exertion when considering a power assist device, maybe for them then they choose a power assist for only a few of these activities. Or the power assist device can be used during specific MRADLs so that the person's energy is saved for the activities that matter most, such as long trips, training for a race, or visiting their family. The point that I'm trying to make is that the client can use a Smart Drive as a tool to navigate their mobility needs with the new PushTracker E2 and switch control. And with the new PushTracker E2 and switch control, they have even more ways to choose to do more with Smart Drive.
And we will get started with some great questions and answers that are questions that are awaiting the answer. So we've gotten a few questions about will the Smart Drive work in places with high frequency interferences? And I think that you did clarify that with talking about the strength of the Bluetooth signal, but I can also say that we have already seen the improvement during some of our beta testing, and actually last weekend at the Abilities Expo, we did notice that it did work better in places with high frequency interference. So Curtis, if there's anything else you want to add about, will this new PushTracker E2 work better in these locations?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. Again, 8 times stronger connection, which helps us at those higher frequency environments. And just to add to your anecdotal experience, I've been beta testing it since June, and I've had maybe 2 dropped connections, maybe 3 the whole time. And this includes being at Abilities Expo, downtown Seattle, downtown Boston. So we're very excited to hear all the improvements and see all the improvements because we know that was a big issue with Bluetooth before.
Excellent. Another question is about retrofitting to existing devices. Because there have been so many versions of Smart Drive, as technology continues to improve, so does Smart Drive. There's been a lot of questions just about, is an existing drive unit eligible or compatible for the PushTracker E2? And I believe we mentioned that as far as if you have the MX2 Plus, but I would recommend, and Curtis, you confirm with me, that you allow us to reach out to you on an individual basis, either your sales manager or contacting Smart Drive directly, so we can just 100% verify the age of your drive unit, so it has the correct firmware. I don't want to speak on a global basis until we know exactly what age of your drive unit you have. Anything else you would say there, Curtis?
And I think just to clarify further, what you asked me to clarify earlier was that if you're using the PushTracker, I was calling it the original PushTracker, but that has the small screen with the icons and 2 buttons, that most likely means that you are eligible for an upgrade. So that means that you have firmware within your Smart Drive unit that can then be upgraded up to so that you can use the PushTracker E2. But I think what you said, Jeneth, of course, reach out to Smart Drive, reach out to your Permobil rep, reach out to your local dealer, whoever you usually work with, and then we'll triple check it, confirm it, and then we can move on from there. So.
Great, thank you. So Curtis, what's your suggestion if the person that wants to use this device doesn't have access to a smartphone?
So if they want to use PushTracker E2 or switch controller, I guess I could answer both. So
Yeah.
if someone wants to use just switch control alone, what I would recommend is that they use maybe a family member's phone in order to set it up. If they don't think that they're going to be changing their settings very often, all they have to do is link with the new PushTracker app one time, set it to whether they want it momentary or latched, or set it to 70% of max speed or 60% of max speed, whatever they think is the best for them. And then they'll never really need to connect to it again. For the PushTracker E2, we highly recommend that you already have a smartphone so that if we need to troubleshoot or if you want to track full functionality with your push tracking and how many pushes and coast time you have, that's the best way to do it. But that being said, you don't necessarily need to have a phone with you in order for your PushTracker E2 to work. So once it's up and once it's running, and the fact that it, excuse me, can connect to Wi-Fi, you can do most of the functionality without a smartphone available. So we're gonna have to work through some of those, but I think it would be possible. But again, the most functionality with the PushTracker E2 would be if somebody already has their own smartphone or has direct access to somebody else's.
Excellent. Thank you. And I want to clarify, and I want to also say, guys, if we don't get to everybody's questions, myself and Curtis will reach out to you at the completion of the live event. So Curtis, we say smartphone, but some of us, me included, would like to know, sometimes it's confusing because we have iPhones, but we're also talking about Google Play. So could you just clarify that this does in fact include compatibility with a phone that is an iPhone running iOS, as well as any other Android phone that can run Google Play Store?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you run an Android or you have an iOS, you can set up your PushTracker E2 through either phone. Wear OS has created apps for both Android and for iOS operating systems. Because both of those apps exist on both operating systems, it doesn't matter if you're a Mac guy or a PC guy, you're able to download the app and get it onto your PushTracker.
Perfect. If possible, could you go back to the slide that you had with the program we will be running for the trade up or trade in or upgrade program? I think there was quite a few questions on if you have a current band, the time frame if someone is receiving one within the next month or two. So would you mind to just review these scenarios again for everybody attending?
Absolutely. So we're going to run an upgrade program. It's going to start in January of 2020. The upgrade program is going to last for 6 months. So basically from the beginning of January until the end of June. And that upgrade is going to be for any wristband that is the original PushTracker, which I said has the little screen and 2 buttons currently. So if you have that one, you're eligible. If you have the first wearable that Smart Drive had available, which only had the single button in the middle, that won't be eligible for the program. For those people who received their PushTracker and Smart Drive August 1st or later, so in the last 3 months, which will be based off of the November 15th date and 2 weeks for delivery, they're going to be able to do this upgrade at no charge. And then for anybody who's before August 1st, so July 31st or before, we are still, for that 6-month period, going to allow for these upgrades to occur for them, but at a $40 discount off of MSRP, which is where the $120 US dollar MSRP comes from. So, and thanks for making me repeat that, because I did not do great on that slide the first time.
No worries. There's just so many conditions that can apply here. So thank you for the clarification. And I wanted to also clarify that the Mobvoi TicWatch E2 is a commercially available product. So if you see a deal going on Amazon, if you have an Amazon gift card, actually Mobvoi is running a Halloween special right now. So you do not have to purchase this through Smart Drive, although we would love to provide this to you and support you through this new technology. It is not a requirement. If you already have a Mobvoi TicWatch E2 and you purchase it within the next few days, you may not see the app in the Google Play Store yet, as I'm aware, Curtis. So you would have to wait until that official launch to actually see the app, but you could go ahead and purchase the band itself, the watch itself. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct. And this is probably a good time to say too, I said, and we're going to continue to say, November 15th is our official launch date. Things change. We're pretty, at this point, we're pretty confident on it. Our engineers have been working super, super hard to get this out and get it ready. But just so that everybody on the call knows that you're going to be getting a link that will take you to sort of our teaser landing page, and you'll see a picture that's kind of blacked out a little bit. But if you give us your information there, just email and name, it'll line you up so that as soon as we do launch, which hopefully will be that November 15th, again, we're pretty confident, we'll be sure that you get an email notification. So let's say that you've already bought the TicWatch E2 and you want to know when the app will go. This is a great way to be alerted to know that we're up, we're running, and we're ready to go.
Excellent. Thank you so much for clarifying that is the anticipated date, but and how to go about being alerted of that. There was a question just about some of the, there was an image that you showed. Let's just look at the image you have here. There's a light blue ring, a dark blue ring, and then occasionally on some of the screen recordings you showed, there was an orange kind of ring that would show up from time to time. So just since we have a little bit of extra time, could you go through kind of what some of those visual indicators would mean?
So if we look at the first ring is telling us what the battery is for our PushTracker E2. The second one is telling us what our battery level is for our smart drive. In this case, it's not connected to the smart drive, so we don't see it. It's just grayed out. And then in that space between the edge of it and the most outer part is where we're going to get our indication if we're connected to the smart drive or not, right? So when I hit turn power assist on, it's going to blink red until it finds my smart drive. Takes about anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds, depending on that traffic that we were talking about before. Once it does connect, then we see it started blinking blue, and then we know that we're good to go to double tap and start and go. So
wonderful. That's exciting. Thank you for answering that. We do have quite a few attendees from our international contingency from Canada. We have some people from Netherlands, additional countries. How do you recommend that they seek additional information on some of the pricing and some of the availability in different regions?
Yeah, I can only speak for my region, which is Canada and US, but I know that we're trying our best to get these out at the same time as much as possible. That's always dependent upon regulatory and logistics and shipping and all that good stuff. So if you have a local Permobil rep or you have a local dealer, you can always go there. That last slide that we saw, the www.permobil.com, will take you to our international webpage. You can click there, click on the region that you're in, and then find your local contact in that area. It would probably be best.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Let me just find, there was a question that, can you go back to the order form slide? I'm sorry, I'm having you jump around on the slides, but just going with some of the questions coming in.
I was hopeful there was lots of questions, so this is great.
Yeah. So the question was just about the switch control, the watch options, you know, what comes with it, what's an extra charge. So could you just maybe go over this slide again?
Yeah, and this is very exciting with all the new things coming. You might wonder, like, what is charged, what's not charged, and the only thing that will require an extra charge outside of the Smart Drive normal MSRP is when someone chooses a switch control with the mono jack option. So that's when you actually want to put in any switch. So let's say someone can't push the switch control for any reason. Maybe they want a micro light, or maybe they want an egg switch. There's a small upcharge for that. Now, for every other Smart Drive unit, what it comes with is the switch control options, which has the 2 buttons. The 2 buttons are on purpose so that they can be on either side of your hand, so that you can reach it on the side, on the width of your chairs. And then after that, the person using the device, in combination with education from their therapist and their ATP, will decide whether they want to do the original PushTracker, the one with the screen and the 2 buttons that we keep talking about, or if they want to do the PushTracker E2. And none of those are an additional price. So again, the only thing with that additional price that would be above what the normal MSRP is for Smart Drive would be if you need the mono jack for a custom switch.
Excellent. And I think for some of our clients and consumers and people that use our wheeled mobility equipment, they may not be used to seeing this MSRP pricing. So just to clarify, this MSRP is the same as any other, well, relatively the same as any other device within the Power Assist code of E0986. So you may not be used to seeing that amount. You know, that's not, it's just like sticker price on a car. That's not what you end up paying or your insurance, but we do have to have a standard price. So just if you're not used to seeing that, all mobility equipment kind of works in the same MSRP world. So just wanted to let everybody know that in case you're not used to seeing that. So Curtis, could you go over again, just someone asked, how easy is it to repair should you lose a connection? And I mean, again, anecdotally, my experience with the beta testing and the Abilities Expo is that it is very easy to access through the settings menu, but that was a question. So maybe you could just review how to pair and maybe how easy it would be to repair should that be lost.
Yeah. So super easy. Again, I'll go ahead and just show this slide real fast. So the first time that you pair, you open up your app, all you do is touch the green button. It's gonna, again, ask you for your permissions. You're gonna say okay to the permissions. It's gonna look for your Smart Drive, and this is only for the first time. You select that, and then the blue ring on the outside will start to blink when it's connected. And then the screen recording shuts off. But if you were to lose connection, all you would do is cycle that power on that green button. If for any reason you're pairing to another device, or if you're a dealer or a therapist and you have multiple demos, going back and forth between different demos, we also have this option through the settings. So go to Smart Drive, you scroll up, go into your settings, scroll up again, and then actually select pair for smart drive. And you can do this the first time, but we find it just it's easier and more intuitive just to use the green button. So again, I've had 1 or 2 drops, and each time I was able to just cycle power and get it back online. So we know that's been a hesitancy and a frustration. So, once you try it, I think you'll see that it is actually a lot easier to use this time around.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. And we're about 3 minutes to the end of our scheduled time. So I just wanted to also mention, we added, if you've been on any of our webinars previously, we give an optional survey at the end of each webinar when it will now launch upon completion of the webinar, as well as be linked to our follow-up email that will have the web page available to you to sign up for updates. It will also have the link for a attendance certificate and a link for our upcoming webinars. And this time on the survey, we actually added an area for you to select if you would like to be contacted by a member of the Permobil and Smart Drive team to find a location where you could demo this equipment or be contacted when we are doing in-services or are in your area. So, we are in the process, and Curtis, you can probably speak to this, of just getting as many demo equipment components out there, or upon launch we will be working on that heavily, but we did want to give you the option for us to reach out to you directly so that we can tell you in your area where to try the equipment.
Absolutely. And then to build upon that too, we're going to have at launch, at least 2 or 3 different sites for you to go through and just get a better understanding of what Smart Drive is, what the new options are, and how you can tailor those options in. And in those sites will be ways to connect with us as well. So stay in contact, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can, and also make sure that we get demos out as soon as possible to as many people as possible.
Again, and then one last question and we'll sign off here. So could you just speak to warranty issue, as how are we do we know, I guess, how are we managing warranties with the PushTracker E2? Is there a policy surrounding that?
Yeah, so if it has anything to do with the smart drive itself, so if the app's not working or it's not connecting, we will troubleshoot with you through our customer service. Our customer service will determine if it's something through our sort of software side or if it's a hardware issue, and then we will work with you on how to process the warranty outside of there. And I'm still waiting to hear on what the full manufacturer's warranty is, but based off of Smart Drive's history, I know that we've always been pretty good at making sure people get taken care of. So we'll get the details and then make sure that everybody is fully aware of it.
And by hardware, we mean the actual, if you're not getting like message alerts or the time isn't syncing, something related to the MobVoy function itself, we will help you determine if it's a MobVoy warranty or a Permobil Smart Drive PushTracker E2 warranty.
Exactly. And there's going to be a little bit of overlap, and we're already becoming sort of closer with them as a partner. So we'll work with everybody, try to figure out what's going on. For the most part, again, though, you get it out of the box, you get it set up, and once it's set up, it's pretty reliable. So
if you have any additional questions, reach out to us with support.smartdrive@permobil.com, and I will go ahead and end this session so that we can end on time, and really appreciate Curtis. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, and hopefully we will see most of you again soon.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys.